Across the Marvel Cinematic Universe's Infinity Saga, Tony Stark created 85 Iron Man suits. With each one, he didn't just chase higher firepower or sleeker design, he fixed the flaws of his past. While Stark's charisma and confidence made him a fan favorite, it's the evolution of his armor that best reveals the true extent of his genius. The suits were never just tech. They were reflections of a man who refused to make the same mistake twice. The icing problem and the power of learning from failure. Tony Stark's journey of refinement began with a near-death experience. In the original Iron Man, his prototype Mark II armor failed at high altitude due to extreme cold, nearly killing him during a test flight. Tony didn't just survive, he adapted. The Mark III was built using gold-titanium alloy, the same material used on satellites, to prevent future icing. This upgrade wasn't just theoretical. In the film's climax, Tony baited Obadiah Stane into the sky, where the villain's ironmonger armor, based on Stark's earlier work, froze midair. It was a poetic callback and a clever exploitation of a flaw Tony had already solved. This was the first and only explicitly acknowledged armor upgrade in the films, but for those paying attention, it was far from the last. Electrifying lessons, from Monaco to the God of Thunder. In Iron Man 2, Whiplash's electrified weapons shredded the Mark V suit and glitched its internal systems. Stark's response? He made the Mark VI more resistant to electrical damage. By the time he squared off with Thor in the Avengers, that armor absorbed a lightning bolt and redirected it into a 400% power boost. He took this idea further still. During the final battle in Endgame, the Mark LXXXV featured lightning-conducting fins designed for team-ups with Thor. When Stark shouted, "Thor, hit me," and absorbed a god-level blast to power his lasers, it was clear this wasn't improvisation, it was preparation. From Earth to the stars, solving the deep space dilemma. When Tony carried a nuke through a wormhole in the Avengers, his suit failed in deep space. He passed out, tumbling through zero gravity until Hulk caught him. That near-fatal failure led to the creation of the Star Boost armor, Mark XXXX, which was optimized for vacuum and low-gravity environments. These improvements carried forward into more advanced suits like the Mark L, first seen in Infinity War, which handled space travel with ease. Tony wasn't just building armor, he was building survival. Redundancy is key, backup reactors, and seamless defenses. In Iron Man 3, Aldrich Killian used extremists to disable the Mark 33's arc reactor, immobilizing Stark. It was a horrifying reminder that putting all your power in one place was a liability. From the Mark XLVI onward, Tony began integrating smaller arc reactors into his suits, visible as glowing blue lights on his limbs. Even when his chest reactor was destroyed in Civil War, he retained mobility. That same Civil War battle revealed another vulnerability. Ant-Man shrank down and infiltrated Tony's suit, pulling wires and disrupting its systems from within. Stark responded with one of his most groundbreaking innovations, nanotechnology. The Mark L was seamless, no gaps, no vulnerable joints. The suit could morph, regenerate, and weaponize on the fly. It also allowed Tony to store his armor inside a compact arc reactor on his chest, making deployment instantaneous. While nanotech would become overused in the MCU post-Endgame, for Tony, it was a necessity born from experience. Facing a titan, the limits of nanotech, and the final upgrade. The Mark L was impressive, but in Infinity War, it wasn't enough. Thanos systematically destroyed sections of the suit faster than Tony could reallocate nanites. With limited resources, Stark was slowly overwhelmed, culminating in a stab wound that forced Doctor Strange to surrender the Time Stone to save him. That loss haunted Tony. In the 5 years following the snap, he developed multiple suits, most notably the Mark LXXXV. It retained the nanotech features of the Mark L but introduced energy-based shields, allowing Tony to block attacks without expending nanites. It was a subtle but critical improvement. His armor could now protect and endure, not just attack and adapt. Tony Stark's real superpower wasn't his armor. Tony was just a man. No super serum. No godhood. Just a mind that never stopped evolving. While enemies like Ironmonger and Thanos relied on brute strength, Tony's edge, was that he never stopped learning. His brilliance lay not in building the perfect suit right away, but in perfecting it through every defeat, miscalculation, and brush with death. The Mark LXXXV was the ultimate expression of his philosophy, a suit forged through failure, shaped by sacrifice, and designed not just to win, but to protect. Even his final act in Endgame, sacrificing himself to wield the Infinity Stones, was only possible because he had built a gauntlet that only he could wear. Tony Stark began his MCU journey as a reckless arms dealer in cobbled-together scrap metal. He ended it as a selfless hero in a weaponized miracle of science and love. Because that's who he was. A man who learned. And a man who built.